There we go. Okay, so I just jumped on to share something that I've been breaking through consistently, and that I know that someone else out there may benefit from. So what this is if you're a huge dreamer and a huge go-getter, and you have like all these things that you've always aimed towards, and that you've always been all about your goals, and you're always trying to move forward, and you always have like this mentality of hustle and moving forward and getting more done. And if you're in one of those situations where it's a day where nothing's getting anything done, it's embarrassingly unproductive. Like, totally embarrassing. And the reason I say this is not to shame you, but because I know that you're going through this and you're having this feeling of being just embarrassingly unproductive. And it happens, it'll come back up, and there's really nothing that you can do to say goodbye to it forever, but it can get better. So what I'm talking about with all of this is just that at some point, either it's burnout, or life happens and things get in the way, or something doesn't go through the way that you wanted to, you're going to have an embarrassingly unproductive day, and chances are you're having one today or have had one recently. And so what has worked for me has really been two things, and today I'm going over number one. Okay, so getting back into action. And it's a process, because as much as you would want to leap back into that process, there's that creep of perfectionism, and then there's the lure of procrastination, and then Orange is the New Black is on Netflix to binge. So the number one thing that I use to get back into taking daily action is to give myself something really small, super manageable, and go for it. And it's possibly the worst thing for me at sometimes, because I want to do so much, because there's so much that I want to do, because I know I'm capable of so much. And so it really has to be a habit and a process and something really ingrained. So I just wanted to share this because it was something that I have in my mind's library. I go through and consume a lot in terms of reading and checking out articles and emails, and it's what my brain loves to do. And then immediately I try to move to action, and it's become a process that's actually been getting a lot of steam and momentum for me. So here's what came up for me. I was in a group started by Nikki Elledge Brown, and it was the Tadpole Challenge. So if you weren't in this, it was actually really amazing, because she had you go through and think of one super manageable small task and then act on it and see what happens. And if you think I'm about to tell you that it was wildly successful and that I got so much done in that group, no, actually no. I did get a lot done, but the biggest thing that I did was make this huge transformational leap that, since that group ended, has carried me through and helped me make huge leaps. I am in the process of a rebrand. I'm in process of lots of different things going on. So one of the key lessons that I took away from that is that if you're not getting whatever it is on your list done, that's for a reason. You're probably making it too big for yourself. So the hardest thing to do is to cut that down. The easiest thing to do is to add more to it. Because if you cut it down, then you have to tell yourself, oh, no, I couldn't manage that, and I have to cut it down. But that's not true. And if you cut it down, you also have to tell yourself, well, I'm going to get less done. But that's not true either. So it's completely the opposite of what your common sense wants to tell you. So one of my favorite things that she said is, no swallowing apples in here. And I, like, when she said that, I was like, oh, I just love that. It's just so freeing. And it's just like one of those things like, okay, well, I get to get away with doing something small today. I get to get away with being a little easier on myself than normal. But what I found is that when I did get that small thing done, so instead of saying I'm going to make my full blog post with the graphics and transcript, yeah, this was on my list, and like a million things added to it, and sharing it on social media, instead of doing all of that, I said, okay, I'm just going to move the HTML code where it needs to go, and that's it. I'm just going to move my embed code onto the blog post and call it a day. Well, the day that I put that on my list, I checked it off, and then I checked off the graphic, and then I checked off the blog post, and then I checked off the social media share. So it ended up being one of those things where just because I made something really small didn't mean that that's all I got done. Like, hey, some days you are going to only get done that little small thing that you gave yourself, but isn't that a lot better than sitting there and struggling and like worrying and beating yourself up and just being awful to yourself for not getting everything done? I mean, it really isn't about any one day. One of my favorite things that I've heard a lot recently is that people overestimate how much they'll get done in a year, but underestimate how much they'll get done in 5 years. And that matters because it's not about like the short term as much as you'd think it is. It's not about how much you got done that day, that week, that month, even that year. Like, it's more about the consistent habit of doing it and about having momentum and showing up time and time again, which is something I recently heard from my coach, Alex Beaton. Show up for them time and time again. And it really hit me because it's like, that's what I've been trying to do this whole time since the beginning, and yet it's only been in the last, I don't want to say 6 months or so, that it's actually been working out for me and consistently, and it's been because I've been applying these lessons. So here's what you're going to do. Title a page with whatever you want that's going to make you feel excited to do it. For me, I put All I See Are Successes because it was from an amazing email that showed up in my inbox from T. Harv Eker. And here are the rules. Number 1, it has to be small and manageable. Yeah, I know that kind of sucks, doesn't it? It has to be small and manageable. It can't be like that huge, massive thing that you want to get done. It has to be a part of that huge, massive thing. And it starts your forward momentum so you actually do get it done, even though you went and gave yourself something small. Okay, so small and manageable is number 1. Number 2, at the end of finishing your task, you have to come back to your piece of paper. Here's mine. I don't think you guys can really see, but here's what I got so far. So at the end, you write success so that you can see how amazing you did. In Nikki Elledge Brown's group, I wrote Dunskies, which is so cute because it's so her brand. But I wrote success. Or you can throw yourself a little emoji party if it's on your phone or whatever you want to put it. Okay, so the third rule. Your monkey brain is going to tell you, why are you excited? That was nothing. But this is where you have to step in and be like, okay, this is the emotional side of my brain that doesn't know what it's doing and doesn't know about my long-term world domination plans. So do it daily. Write something small down for yourself. Check off something small. And if you don't get it done, that's a good sign that you had to cut it a little smaller. So that's my number 1 system for getting out of embarrassingly unproductive days and kind of really honoring that process of getting things done at your own pace, but also kind of finding a mind trick to get more out of yourself than you thought you could. So you keep an eye, or watch this space. Watch this space so you can get more of these insights. I'm doing part 2 in just a little bit, so you'll want to make sure that you are subscribed. Go to YouTube and look for Curiosity Wings, or you're going to want to go to Facebook and look for Curiosity Wings Community. That's actually my favorite way to connect with everyone because you can post in there and ask me questions and I can answer. So go to Facebook, search for Curiosity Wings Community, click on the groups, and there I am. So go ahead and join. And that's all I got for you guys. Bye. Are you joking?